Carol here. A warm welcome to my craft room. Well, here is the June Hedgehog Hollow kit project I wanted to do, one of them. And I love this 6x6 stamp. It reminds me of the back of that stainless steel toolbox in the back of a pickup. And I drive a pickup truck, a Ford pickup truck. And I was reminded as I was stamping this of that imagery that's, you know, slammed into the stainless steel toolbox. Yes, you can leave me a comment what that's called. I'm not quite sure, but I absolutely love this stamp. So I took the craft paper and I decided I'm going to do a few things that are a tad different. One, of course, is a shaker. It comes with so many wonderful masculine stamps and dies and total goodness. May I add that? And here with the clear mark, actually, the embossing pad by Nuvo, I'm going to emboss it with the Nuvo embossing powder, and I love this color. It's called, let me see here, Copper Blush. And everything points to a masculine card. I don't do many of them. You know, I do some. Most of them, if I do it, I have a, you know, a Harley image on it, or I have a forest scene or a hunting scene or whatever. More with the outdoors, you know. And so this one was just sheer joy to have this denim pocket and all of this goodness. I'm going to leave the link over on Hedgehog Hollow where Alexandra shows you and features all the items in this kit. And the embossing powder actually is scrumptious. It really is. Anything made by Nuvo is fantastic. So far that I've been using, I think it's great. And you can see the clear mark Nuvo embossing pad to my right. And I thought, you know, I remembered here I'm showing some of the elements that are in the kit, tons of them. And this one especially, look at that. You have the denim stamp, you have the pocket outline, you have the pocket die, and you have all of these sentiments that are, I mean, they're perfect for masculine cards. And they go with dad and, you know, all uncle, brother, all those things. Names in there that are associated with masculine cards. And here I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This paper, this wood blue, powder blue, I don't know, it's like a powder blue and navy with a wood background. I decided to take the denim, use the clear mark, the Nuvo clear mark. I use that or I grab for the watermark by LDRS Creative. Both are fantastic. And I'm going back to the Nuvo Copper Blush, and I thought, look at that. You really don't have to have navy when you're doing a background with denim. I think denim comes in all kinds of colors now. You know, it's not like back in the day where all you had was blue jean. And I stamped this out, and I'm telling you, I can't wait to show you some different styles of cards just using that denim patch right here. And I thought there's the outline, the stitched outline of a pocket. So I'm going to get my, hopefully I zoom out for you. That's pretty close, isn't it? And yeah, I think you could take your glasses off and actually see that. Speaking from somebody who wears glasses, right? Yeah, so I stamped this image down in the clear mark, Versamark, whatever it is you're going to use, but you know, the Nuvo clear mark is great. It has a great handle on it for taking the lid off. I think is wonderful. They really came up with a good invention there. So I'm going to go back, and I found this, I think it's made by Wow, I'm not sure, but it's black glitter embossing powder. I thought that way, even though I'm outlining it, there it is there. I'm outlining to have a shaker. I want you to be able to see in on the sides and see that it's an actual pocket. And it reveals the copper blush, it reveals the black with some sparkly glitter so the eye kind of focuses in on it. And I think it's gorgeous just like that. So the pocket die came with some word dies that I will use the one that says Dad. And I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. I'm using the Vagabond today. And I'd like to be using the Gemini, but I haven't had time to learn how to use it yet. So it's sitting there. Yeah, it's befriending me here to the left, but I'm so used to my Vagabond that it's just second nature. So anywho, yeah, and it fits these dies perfectly. So I'll take all the nubbies off. Be very careful when you do this. I caution you, really. If you don't wear glasses, put something on your eyes or turn your head and chomp these little bits off because they fly and they really could do some little damage in the eyes there if you don't have something protecting it. And I always say that. I speak from experience. And yeah. So anywho, yeah. So I grabbed this paper. I had this in my stash. I got it at Hobby Lobby. And it was a Park Lane kit. And I'm going to show it in a little bit. And it was almost the perfect craft paper that was in the June kit. And Alexandra designed this kit. May I say that? Real big shout out because I love the font on the Dad. I did 3 high. And I will run them through my Xyron later. And I'll emboss the top Dad with the copper blush so that it all, matches. Here it didn't cut so much, so I just did it myself. I'm going to put it inside one of the layers. It'll probably be the second one hiding it, so really it's not going to show. And I have a paper towel down there for the glare. I have to figure that out. I have to either back off some of my lighting or something, but anyway, it worked for me. And then this paper was inside the kit. Don't you love it? It has that Tim Holtz Flair mixed media style to it, which I like, and it has different images front and back. So how cool is that? You get to use either or. So here are the actual envelope and the flip-up card that already had the guts missing. But you could easily just fold some cardstock, take one of your rectangle dies and die cut the center out to do this. Now it's a perfect fit, so I need it to be right on when I add the Scotch tape to the sides on the inside, and then I'll take another one out of the kit that I bought. I think it's called Park Lane. Hopefully I will show you, but I'll leave a link and see if I can find it for you. Then I cut this off of another actual page that was in the kit. I cut it off to put it like this to cover all that mess up. And there you have it. Easy peasy. You can either use something out of your stash like this. I'll grab my 1/2" ATG. Love it because it is super, super sticky. And that's what you're going to need, either double-sided tape. You can even use liquid tape, but I really didn't want to use that because of the Scotch tape being on there. It's kind of a slippery surface. What I like about this project, along with every other project that I like, is when you work with craft, it does give you a lot of elements that you can use because of the color, right? You're not having to change up the color. And so I chopped this off right here. Wasn't quite sure what I was going to do quite yet, although I knew this is where I want the sentiment to be written on, not the navy part, but I wanted to include this navy because of the pocket, right? The jean. So I distressed the edges. I grabbed some of the LDRS Creative ink because it's gorgeous hybrid ink. And that one is the Coffee Bean. That's the Coffee Bean. I will leave a link for that. LDRS Creative inks are amazing because being hybrid inks and they sit high off of the pad sits high off of the plastic. It's wonderful to work with, just wonderful. So I put this in and I thought, okay, I'll leave that for now and I'll start to create something on the front. You just keep looking at it like this. And I didn't do too bad with 39-minute edit, did I? That's not bad. It's not an hour. So, I don't know why I threw that in, but anyway. So I die cut the actual pocket out. Then I'm going to grab my Doris really thin strips, because it'll raise it up. I'm only going to raise it up one strip. I'm not going to double up, or I don't need much space because I'm going to use these flat hearts that I had in my stash from Michael's. You get 6 features and you kind of turn the lid and it lets out all different colored hearts. Yes, and they had this beautiful copper hearts that matched perfectly. So you're going to want to die cut the pocket out of acetate. We all know that because we're making a shaker. I'll remove the top of these Doris thin strips, and we're going to set that acetate piece over top of these copper hearts. You don't need many. I don't want to cover up the image underneath. I think it's wonderful. You have the masculine wood, you know, in the denim color of the paper. You have that gorgeous denim stamp. And then all I needed now was to cover the Doris strips, the double-sided tape strips. So here I'm going to run Dad through my Xyron, and it actually fit through the 1-inch one, which was great. So I set that aside after I press it down, and it's great to have a Xyron machine, isn't it? It just adds to timing. And now I have to take the guts out of this. So I just grab, I'm using the glass mat. That's a wonderful thing. It just slides off. You have to be really careful doing this, that you hang on to your image. And then I got the Tim Holtz ruler because it has a metal edge. And I always say that, and then I use the other side. I don't use the metal. See, the metal's to the left and I'm cutting on the right. Oh my, that's what I do, right? So I'm just going to guesstimate on this. It's not going to be precise. You can tell that just by looking at it. I just want it to look a little uniform and, you know, cut well. And because you're working on that glass, let me give you a little pointer here. Hang on to that ruler and your cutting image, because it does have a tendency to slide. If I had a thought of it, I would have just put some runner tape down and secured it to the glass, because, you know, it wipes right off. But I think it did a pretty good job here, don't you? It looks pretty good. I had to go back because it kind of slid on that one. But because of the image, and it doesn't have to be that precise, you know, even for me, with all the detail and fussy stuff I do, I didn't mind this, even if it was a little off. And the hearts are inside that pocket. Oh, they're not gold hearts, however. They're the exact color as that copper blush embossing powder by Nuvo. And I'll leave the link to those too if I can find them. It's at Michael's. It's, yeah. So here we go. I think I did a good job with measuring, you know, to cover that tape roll, or strips, excuse me. I'm always thinking of the other honkin' roll that you put on. These are perfect, and they're hard to get. I will leave a link, but they're always out of stock. So yeah, if you like thin strips, and they really mold around corners well when you take the top off of the strip. So here you go. I have that going to go on the top, but first I want to take some of these amazing, amazing sentiments for masculine cards. And this is going to be a birthday card, by the way. So I'm looking for some sentiments to go with Birthday Dad. This is going to be a birthday card. And fantastic sentiments. You know, I have to tell you, for the price of this Hedgehog Hollow kit that you get, if you add everything up, if you were to go buy this separately, you are saving a bundle by buying it as a kit. Let me tell you, I'm showing you there the watermark, how beautiful this clear embossing pad is. It's easy to grab your hands around it if you have, you know, issues with your hands. because it just molds to the hand and the top just clips right off. It's nice. And in that pack, there are these little rectangle squares. There's two of them. One that has the image of the blue jean and one that has the outline of tags, you know, that you put behind your clothing or you put on the pocket saying, you know, wherever you bought it or whatever, if it's a name brand. Yeah, birthday, let's go. Yeah, woohoo, we're having a birthday card for Dad. Yes, I had to put that in there. And when you're having fun in the craft room, I mean, you have to have some fun, right? And with my little things that I add in, makes me laugh when I'm doing the edit. And anybody that does edits, you need to have a little smile on your face as you're doing it. I'm putting down some powder now that I didn't do before. As you could see, I had the paintbrush trying to get the little marks off, but I don't think it's going to mean much once you get the sentiments put in here. So I did as many as I could with these tags. One, I thought it would be a nice element for the card, and two, I did not want to waste any of this cardstock at all. I love the wood grain and I love the color. So I think I did a pretty good job, right? So here we go. Oftentimes for me, I'm not going to say I struggle with masculine cards, but I want to make them different. And so I have to think the process out a little more, but I didn't have to do that with this kit because when you lay out everything that you receive, it all comes together. You don't fight with what you're going to do. It just seems, you look at the stamps, you look at the die cuts and the cardstock that's included inside the kit, and things just seem to come together. And as a birthday card for someone to give to their dad, I think it is a fabulous card. So I want to put all these, you know, Mr. Fix-It, everything that a dad, you know, does for their family, it's in these sentiments, and I think it's great. So I took the LDRS Creative Raven Black Hybrid ink there, and it, you know, if you wanted to Copic color, you could because it's Copic safe. So that's an awesome thing to know. And I love the Raven Black color, and I love using minis, so it worked out well for me. So I'm just looking here, la-da-da, trying to find all the things. This one says wonderful. I'm not going to bore you. I'm going to move forward. I wanted to have half empty and half with, oh, amazing. Look at that. Half of little sentiments on there. So I didn't want to fill them all in. So here we go, and I'm using the Fiskars stamp press, and look at that. This is so funny. My sponges are facing up. Ah, that was hysterical. I'm going, hey, what's going on here? Why isn't this going boing, boing, boing when I'm using it? There, I turned it around. Now my sponge is on the bottom. That was so funny. I did a lot of funny things. You're going to see that at the end. About the only thing I didn't do was spill my embossing powder. So, yeah, there are little glitches. When you're making cards, there are little glitches. So I kept the dad image, the bottom one, on the slippery paper that you use. There it is. And I put all of the images on top, coming through the Xyron. That's one of the pages there. I thought it'd be kind of nice. Then I put the embossing pad down, the sticky pad, and then I put the powder and heat set it, and it was fabulous. But I'm not finished. Now I want to put sentiments, like little sentiments going all the way around the outside of the shaker. And this one says, if I could get up there, it says, "You're the best." Kind of said, look like you're the boss. Either or, it's kind of cute. You're the best. And I picked all of them out, and yes, you have to do them separately if you're using the stamp press there. And I'm looking at it. I actually set the Fiskars so that I knew that that stamp had to go in the middle with the boing boing sponge being face up so I could turn it around and press it down. That was funny, but I didn't let it deter me. Oh no. I just went ahead and stamped it down with the foam facing me. And I used clear, LDRS Creative Clear embossing powder. I love that stuff. It really does Some embossing powders, they're granulated in such a way that if you have a small image, it transfers, like it melts wide. But this stuff doesn't. It sticks only and melts to that Nouveau embossing pad. And I think that's nice to know when you're ordering things. And then I was thinking I would put all these names, you know, like a little poof at the top of pockets. But I thought, this is a jean. It's not a suit pocket. But yeah, and it's a birthday card. Let's remember that. So I went to my stash. Here's the fantastic thing. In our stash, I think a lot of us have brads. I know I have 5,692,000 of them. And I remembered that I did have these screw brads that look like little screws. They're straight ones, like negative, and then there's a positive. And I got them out, and I thought, okay, I'm going to dip them into the Nouveau Clear Mark or your Versamark, whatever. And you can matchy the colors of your embossing powder with metal. It works beautifully. Just grab, I'll show you in a minute, as soon as I get these down. I did every other one, and then I left that space for a brad at the bottom. Was I thinking before time I was going to do that? No, I wasn't. To be honest with you, I just didn't have enough space once I was going across there, but it works out perfect. That's what we do, right? We design, and I worked with it. And I'm using some glue. I ran out of my Nouveau glue. 2 bottles of it. Man, I couldn't believe it. But I'm using this tulip glue I got at Michael's, and it's for material. And it works quite well, and it's clear, dries clear. So I need to put some double-sided tape off the Scotch roll on the back. I mean, you don't have to do this, but I thought raising it up would just be perfect. I loved it. And yeah, so I put that on there, getting ready now to actually create the front and finish it off. And you can also add some liquid glue over top of this if you don't think it's going to stick. But it did. And I want to add this. I did not put a acetate piece in between that sheet. I was thinking of that. I could have put some acetate on there and maybe put a few sprinkly things, but I didn't have enough space really. I wanted to really showcase that 6x6 stamp with that. Oh, hello. Hello. Yes, and I actually had to add my little puppies. You know that we had to put our cinnamon down a couple of weeks ago. Be 3 weeks Tuesday, and yeah, so that was a sad time for me. And here I'm putting glue, that glue that I said, the tulip, liquid glue, any liquid glue would do. And yeah, I'm getting in preparation. I just put something heavy, my acrylic block, so that it will seat itself. And then we're going to move along, I think, to do these wonderful screw brads that are in our stash. I love using stuff that we bought at the beginning stages of you know, our creative journey. Excuse me, he always has to go across when there's something liquid, doesn't he? Or sticky. So anyhow, I actually grabbed my good tweezers and I said, oh no, that's not going to happen. I don't know why they were in my craft room, but I went and got my reverse tweezers. Hang on to them, dip them in your Versamark pad, your Nouveau pad, your LDRS Creative pad, whatever you have handy. This is the LDRS Creative pad, I can pretty well tell. It works fantastic. And dip it, then shake on your embossing Nouveau powder that comes in. Excuse me? Oh, yes, that powder just got to him. So let's move along here. Yeah, he makes me lose my train of thought, but I think he's so cute. So you press in your metal, whatever you're going to use. In my case, it's the brad. I'm going to take my metal clippers there. I'm going to clip off the brad part. I don't want that on there. I don't want to go through the paper because I already put a back sheet on it, right? So I don't want to have to put another sheet. And I'm just going to use my hot glue and glue it down because your hot glue will hold that metal. You can use E6000, whatever, but I think this is great. Yeah, I'm getting right to it. Get these tweezers. I don't know why I switched. Isn't that funny? When I do an edit, I look back and I think, why did you do that, Carol? You know? Yeah, why didn't you just continue to hold it with your hand? Probably because I didn't want to burn my fingers off. Let's go with that, right? And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you very much. I think you're going to love this June kit. When you go over to the link, check it out. Awesomeness. That kit is filled with awesomeness. And some little candies are put in there that Hunter enjoyed this week. So here we go. I'm setting it aside. You want it to dry, and it looked great. That embossing powder just adhered to that metal so wonderfully that, yeah, I was pretty excited. And look you can't get a more masculine card than that, right? And you could switch it up to be a feminine card too, if you didn't use the dad image, right? Because the pocket and so many ideas went through my head. But I had to think, okay, what are you going to do on the inside? I wanted to incorporate some more things out of the kit. So I grabbed some more of those little rectangles and put some glue on it and put them along the bottom just to give that edge. You can see it to the right. I picked out the dad little die. I'm going to put that on there with some glitter paper. And the glitter paper I had was bronze. So it went with everything. So I had to use it, right? And here I'm just clipping off the ends, making sure they're not sharp on my little screw brads. I put one at the top, one at the bottom. And isn't it amazing when you're creating, you think you've made a mistake, but it is actually a good mistake when you continue on with your designing. And here I put one of these are all positive, like a plus sign screw brads. And I put one at the end of the pocket so that I had an odd number. So there was 3 of them. One at the top and the bottom right. I took my crocodile and clipped off the right upper and lower edges of the card. I didn't want it to all be squared off because you can see that everything is like perfectly squared off. So I thought it would look nice to take the edges off the top and bottom right with the crocodile. Going back to using all the things we love to use in, you know, days gone by. Yes. So anywho, yeah, let's get that. I had to wait for my hot glue gun to get hot. So I thought, okay, I'll clip these off really well. Oh, there you go. I'm starting to set them down. And you know what I did watch for? I need to put a lot in there because it has an empty spot inside the brad. So you really do need to fill it up with the glue. I'll mention that if you're going to use brads, right? If you take off the clips, you're going to have to fill the inside. So you want enough glue to be high enough to place them down. And we will move along. I think it looks nice to matchy-matchy everything, don't you? You know, even though the blue little pocket things there that I cut out and stamped. And when I stamped that, I did emboss it so that you have that copper blush embossing powder all the way around the edges where the sentiments are there. So it really did stand out. You have the background blue matching those. Then you have the hearts in the copper. And I'm telling you, any dad for his birthday, right, would love to get a card like this, I think. And this Park Lane, I'm pretty sure packet, had envelopes. But once again, you can use We Are Memory Keeper envelope maker and make your own with cardstock, craft cardstock that's in your stash. It all works out well. And what's wonderful about using a kit is you can step outside the realm of your kit because there's so much in the kit, you don't feel guilty, you know, going over and using something else. We all have to use little bits here and there, but this kit is filled with scrumptious products. So I'm going to leave that link and check it out. You're going to love this one. If you struggle with masculine cards, you will not struggle any longer. This is the ultimate. And I love the way the D is separated here. It's all not one. So that's kind of nice if you wanted to break it up and, you know, add some different words from it, because it does have other little sentiments like this, the same size, that you could use the alphabet letters. And now I'm going to work with making the front and the inside kind of matchy-matchy. So you can see that I laid out those little pocket things on the bottom, those tags, those little designer tags I'll call them. I'm using liquid glue, and this is copper. I got this out of my stash. It's copper sparkle paper, glitter paper they call it, right? And I put the dad on the pocket. Oh yeah, we'll just dad it right out. And I like the paper there where you have the gentleman at the top, you know, it says men's fine dress shirt. Everything is like perfect. And when you turn this paper over, by the way, you have beautiful other images that you can use. You're not, you know, just left to use this alone. And I thought of so many things. You could put a sentiment inside the middle zigzag of that navy side of the right. You could do something there. I mean, there's so much. Yeah, you're just pressing it down. Stick, stick. Now, once we get this completed, I'm not going to do anything to the bottom. I think it looks nice just like it is. I think the front is the wow factor. The inside, you're going to write your sentiment on the pocket itself if you like. And there you have it. Look at that. Isn't that embossing powder, that color, that bronze? I'm glad I did the top of the dad with that as well, because it just, I don't know, it all came together. So here's my envelope. Here is the funny thing. I took out some masking paper, and I want to mask the pocket out, okay? And all I wanted to do was cut the pocket out of masking paper, so I have all that wonderful cover-up of the pocket. And you know what I did? I ran this through. There you have it. I'm cutting this down. This is the Post-it note 8.5 by 11 sheets that I buy. LDRS Creative, I'll leave the link to that, has wonderful masking paper as well. But I'm using up my stash stuff. Look at this. I didn't remove the envelope, and I cut a hole. Look at, I grabbed the envelope. I have to keep that stuff in because it's real, folks. This is what I do. And I slid it through, and I came back and I said, hey, where's my envelope? Where's my envelope? There it is, Carol. Has a honking big hole in it. Yeah, don't do this. Do as I say, not as I do, right? So I redid it, grabbed another envelope out of the pack, put this on there, and grabbed my Tim Holtz. Yeah, I was going to do it with this, but you can see it's just a little bit touching that sponge stuff there. So I took it off, grabbed my stamp platform, my Tim Holtz stamp platform, and I'm going to take all of my goodies off of there, and we're going to set it in here, and we're going to mask off the pocket. That's where you're going to put the address. I thought if you're, you know, you have to mail this to your dad, I thought it would be nice to have it shaped like the card, like a pocket. So I took out the envelope. I used this, you know, Versamark, whatever you want to use. It's the Nouveau. And I had to do it a couple of times. I almost thought I'd have to sit on it. For some reason, I didn't have a lot of energy that day, like some, you know, stamping power in my arms, my muscles. But yeah, we got through it. We did. I say we because I figure that you're joining me in my craft room, so it's a we. It's not just me. It's us. We spend our time together in my craft room, right? So here we go. I really did make it nice and juicy, pressed it down. Then we're going to do the other side. We're going to use the Nouveau embossing powder to make it identical to the card, of course. So now all we have to do is the other side. I love masking. There's so many ideas you could do with this to mask off. And just don't do the first thing I did, cut through your envelope. Yeah, keep a few spare ones. That's what I do, because I know during my designing and creating, I always have little blooper things that happen. And that's the fun of it, right? It makes you laugh and you just carry on. We need to do the other side now and stamp it out. This image, attaches itself easily if you have to run it in alignment, you know, going across. It isn't so out of character that you can't line things up. It lines up beautifully. So yeah, and that's what I did. I did it again. See that? That's how easy it is to line this image up. It's fantastic. And it's good to have a wonderful 6x6 background image for any cards. This would work for any cards. It worked beautifully for a trellis. So many things. So many ideas I have. So now I am going to heat set this and we're going to move forward. You have a nice spot here once we take the mask off to send it in the mail. So I grabbed the stitch stamp and put that on there. That just looked kind of empty, didn't it? But no. Hedgehog Hollow, actually, Alexandra thought of that, and you have the stitching that's empty on a stamp. And what I love about this stitching stamp is Alexandra didn't keep the center in, it's out. So that way you don't risk getting any of your ink on the middle portion of it, because look at, it's just the outside lines. I think that's fabulous. Like, that's thinking ahead. Because sometimes if you have these like that and you're pressing down and you have any ink in the center of it, you know where it's going to go, right? Yes. So anywho, I pressed that in there. I put some clear embossing powder on it just to keep it safe. When I get this all situated, I'm going to take some pictures here and leave it for you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much to my subscribers. I appreciate it. If you want to see my tutorials, subscribe and then press that little bell and it will tell you when I have a tutorial put up. And your comments, I always tell you, they mean the world to me. I try to answer everyone. I am thankful to be designing for the Hedgehog Hollow. I love this kit, and you're going to love July's kit too. I can't wait to design with that. So you have yourself a blessed week, and I will see you on the next tutorial. Take care, everybody, and thank you so much for stopping by.